watching the News Hour at 9.
Over the last few days, there has been a massive debate over the sedition law. The focus was brought back on the law after Navneet and Ravi Rana were slapped with sedition charges in Maharashtra. A case that echoed in the Supreme Court as well when the Centre's Council made a case against the misuse of the law. Today, the Centre filed an affidavit in court and watered down its earlier stand. They said that after having considered concerns of civil liberties and human rights, a decision has been taken to re-look the provisions of Section 124A. The swift change in Centre's stand comes right after Prime Minister Modi instructed to re-evaluate the necessity of this colonial law in the present times. Centre has also told the top court that reviewing and repealing old laws is an ongoing process and that the government has already scrapped almost 1,500 laws since 2014. This move has divided our politicians yet again, triggering a fresh sedition law face-off. Listen in.
Today we have made it very clear through an affidavit. We have conveyed the intention of the Government of India. Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji has clearly stated and directed that we will reconsider and re-examine the provisions of the sedition law. Prime Minister Modi ji has already taken a decision to remove all the obsolete and colonial laws which are irrelevant in today's time. And in the process, we have already removed close to 1,500 obsolete laws. So in the same manner, with regard to sedition law, Prime Minister's direction is very clear.
देखिए, जहाँ तक सरकार का ये नजरिया है कि इस केस को री-एग्जामिन करना है, ये एक अच्छी बात है, प्रोग्रेसिव है और सारे देश को इसका समर्थन करना चाहिए। मैं इसका समर्थन करता हूँ क्योंकि मेरा ये मानना है कि जितने भी लोग इस देश में सेडिशन लॉ के दुरुपयोग को लेकर चिंतित हैं, उनकी भावनाओं का आदर हुआ है और देश के एहसास और भावना का आदर हुआ है।
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 2 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining the debate along with Gaurav Bhatia, Dr. Anand Ranganathan and Kamruzaman Chaudhary are Sanjay Hegde, senior advocate in the Supreme Court, and Riju Dutta, spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. My first question goes to you, Dr. Anand Ranganathan. Today the Prime Minister has himself stepped in and changed the government's affidavit so far in this case and said that they will relook at this law. I want to ask you one question. Who's more guilty of misusing the sedition provisions in the law, Section 124A? Is it really the BJP as very often alleged by opposition parties, or are all political parties guilty as charged?
Thank you, Navika. Look, this is a welcome step by the Modi government and it couldn't have come sooner. It sickens me, to answer your question, it sickens me, Navika, that governments of all political parties use the draconian sedition law in instances that are clearly not seditious. I said use and not misuse, remember, because the law is draconian, overarching and deliberately kept grey, so that acts you would logically consider non-seditious can also be included. You can only misuse a just and conscientious law, Navika. You can't misuse an already draconian one. Quote, attempt to excite feelings of disaffection against the government, unquote. Is that not draconian? Everything is grey. Everything is subject to something. Everything is primed for offending your sensibilities. In my view, sedition should be considered unlawful only if it is attached to an imminent, verifiable, palpable threat to India. It sickens me when the BJP in Gujarat uses it to arrest a journalist who criticized the CM's handling of COVID. It sickens me when BJP in Karnataka uses it to arrest a mother just because her child acted in an anti-CAA play. It sickens me when Congress in Chhattisgarh uses it to arrest a man who complained of a power cut. This was incidentally after they promised in the 2009 manifesto that they'd abrogate the sedition law. It sickens me when the Congress arrests 60 tribals and Dalits, including the Dalit activist and editor Sudhir Dhavle, under sedition charges. It sickens me when 11,000 people are charged with sedition under the NDA. including 10,000 people in a single day. It sickens me, Navika, when 12,000 people are charged with sedition under the UPA, including 8,000 people in a single day, and the Congress Home Minister then Chidambaram calls them anti-national, quote unquote. But you know what sickens me most, Navika? No, not that both BJP and the Congress keep using this draconian law. No, not even that Chauthi failed leftists and dynasty lapdogs never cite instances where the Congress has used this sedition law. No. What sickens me most is that our founding fathers used it. They gave this draconian law a stamp of approval. They were supposed to make ours a free, liberal republic. But instead, people like Nehru kept on using this draconian law to stifle freedom of speech. Just 20 seconds, Navika. Who was Ram Nandan, I ask you? For calling Nehru a traitor and accusing the Congress of not addressing poverty. Ram Nandan was charged with sedition and jailed for 3 years. And these feeding on crumbs dynasty historians still call Nehru liberal and defender of freedom of speech. कुछ शर्म नाम की चीज है कि नहीं? Truth, Navika, is if India is a banana republic, then it has been one since it became a republic.
Well, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, you know, fingers were pointed at the BJP. But what happened in the Navneet Rana case? What's happening in another journalist case in Rajasthan? What's happened countless times by the Congress party? The Congress party has been a serial offender as far as sedition or misuse of sedition laws is concerned. Remember Asim Trivedi? Remember so many cases in the UPA regime? I want to ask you, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, tonight at least, would you want to compliment the Prime Minister to at least have the guts to say that this law will be revisited?
Okay, thank you, Navika. A very important debate today we are conducting. Let me just club it with the AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Powers Act, along with the sedition law. Congress party in its manifesto of 2019 has got a very clear stated policy regarding these two acts. These two acts were considered as draconian, and we had promised, if we had come to power, to remove this from the laws, from the constitution. Their implementation will be a gone case. What are the public instances that they have been used in the recent past? That is a matter of debate. I am not going into this. But I just want to expose the hypocrisy of the Bharatiya Janata Party
if you will come to power is a big if. But the fact is that you are part of coalition governments like in Maharashtra, which have used the sedition law just last week.
No, Chhattisgarh.
Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, you know, with police of various states knocking on the doors of journalists. Gaurav Bhatia, is it, you know, it's very fine for Kamruzaman Chaudhary to say, oh, we wrote in our manifesto. We wrote in our manifesto, but we use it wherever we are in coalition governments. Very sanctimonious of you, Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Gaurav Bhatia, I'm very short on time in this debate. Gaurav Bhatia.
10 more seconds, Navika. Just 10 seconds I will take in Supreme Court.
Navika,
just 2 days ago, the government of India opposed the sedition law.
Can we just lower the fader? I don't have time to, you know, be indulgent. Gaurav Bhatia, please.
Thank you. Navika, I will keep it very elementary and very basic for all the viewers. You know, we've heard the opposition saying Narendra Modi ji does not like freedom of speech. But here I am proud of the fact that the Prime Minister has done what no Prime Minister could earlier do in the last 73 years of freedom. This is an archaic law, and the affidavit filed by the government today has made it very clear that through the constitutional process they are revisiting the law. That itself shows how Narendra Modi ji is a champion of civil liberties. Second, to the Congress panelist, their manifesto, Navika, said that we would do away with sedition. But very recently, as you said, they have slapped a sedition charge on Navneet Rana, on another very famous anchor, and they have been abusing and misusing it. The third point is, I'm very sure that during the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, this country will get rid of one more archaic law, just the way 1500 old obsolete laws have been done away with, and that augurs very well for democracy.
Well, clearly, it's something that we should celebrate in the media. We should celebrate as people of this democracy. And Sanjay Hegde, do you think for once something right is being done by this government?
Well, for once, I'm given some little hope. But then I've been long enough around governments and as a government lawyer to look at a gift horse in the mouth. You see, if this government wanted to do something speedily, bring about a change in the law, it does it overnight through the ordinance route. It brought in the EVS quota by the ordinance. If the Prime Minister was minded to take away sedition, he could do it with a stroke of the pen. Barely had, before this debate ended, he could say, the 124A is done away with an ordinance, and when Parliament meets, it will ratify it. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is, we shall think about it. I'm reminded, just 1 minute, I'm reminded of another Prime Minister, P.V. Narasimha Rao, who used to say, it's not that I do nothing. I think about it and decide that nothing can be done. So I would wait to see that.
Pardon me. I'm reminded of a Saas Bahu serial because it said, in the Indian context, it's often said it's very difficult to please the mother-in-law, and you're really behaving like a mother-in-law this time because aap keh rahe ho ki sahi kiya, it's a good beginning, but you must find something to criticize and nitpick. Well, have it your way. Riju Dutta, do you think welcome change? Do you think Bengal also needs to wash away its previous sins by, now revisiting the sedition law, and we can all put it away, ki theek hai, let bygones be bygones, and this truly is a republic, a democracy coming of age?
Navika ji, first of all, it is BJP who is trying to wash away their sins to save face. Now, this sedition law...
आपने नहीं यूज किया?
नहीं,
You didn't use?
आप या तो मुझे बोलने दे या आप छोड़ दे. हम बोल लो, खत्म कर ले मैडम. ठीक है. Sedition law has no place in India right now. We have all agreed. Now let me give stats. A lot of very senior statisticians are here who give stats all the time. In BJP regime, the sedition law has gone up by 160% and conviction rate is 3%. That means, and the top 5 states that have implemented the sedition law, one after the other, are BJP ruled states. That means BJP is so fragile with complete majority in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha that they think one tweet can break their backbone. Now they all need to understand that dissent is not sedition, and now they are trying to save this face. This is the bottom line. They should understand in democracy, people have the right to speak up. It does not mean I can be a patriot, but I can vehemently criticize my government. That does not mean I'm an anti-national. They should understand that.
Well, I hope you believe in what you are saying about the BJP, but Dr. Anand Ranganathan, I'm partial to you. 10 seconds to you.
Thank you so much. Navika, just 10 seconds. You said it is almost impossible to please a mother-in-law. It is even more impossible to please a Bengali mother-in-law. That's what I...
Well, but I want to tell Riju Dutta, you could criticize the BJP as much as you want, but don't follow them. Don't follow them and repeat their mistakes. That's all that I'd like to say tonight. I think if this law is revisited, repealed, it won't be a day sooner. And the fact is that in a democracy as old as ours, 75th year is the right time to make new beginnings. And we hope this draconian law goes away and freedom of speech, freedom of expression gets a new life. For all opposition parties included, the same will hold true because everybody's misused it in their time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the NewsHour tonight. Good night. Take care. The numbers are rising. You need to be careful and save yourself from COVID. Thank you very much.